Thought I'd show you what I'm doing today as far as the plating is going of the razors. I got a customer's order in that I've been working on over the Thanksgiving holiday, and this one's ready to get the gold plating. This is after everything's been stripped and polished, and I had some knurling issues down here where there was a gouge across there, and I had to go in with a microscope and a mini tool that I made and straighten out all those knurls. They look pretty good now. But that's what they look like. The better they look before you plate them, the better they look after. So that's going to look awesome. That's a 1934 Aristocrat open comb. It's the first, I think it's the first year. Let's see. Yeah, first year of the Aristocrat in the twist to open design. The next one I'm working on is I'm going to strip this down, strip the nickel off of it. It's a G1 1961 Fatboy. As you can see, that one's got a lot of corrosion, crustiness, and gunk on it. Next one is a J1 Slim. Got a lot of the razor rust up top, green corrosion down below. And that one's pretty nasty. The next one is a D1. That's a 1964 J1 Slim. The next one's going to be a D1 red tip, which was made in 1958. Yeah, you got more rust up there. And it's okay to buy these razors and clean them up and use them. They're still functional, but you know, all that, I mean, how good can you clean that? All your germs and 50, 100 years worth of ick is in the pores of this metal. There's when you see the little dots, that's pitting, and that goes underneath the plating. The plating might look nice and solid, but you get a magnifying glass on that or a microscope, and those pits go all the way through the plating. And when you strip that off, you can see all those dots and everything are bigger underneath. So that's storing all that stuff. So that's one thing about plating everything gold is I strip it down to the base metal and take all that pitting out, all the minute everything. It's not just to make it look pretty, it's to disinfect it and bring it back to brand new condition. The last one is my 1930s new long comb. Three-piece razor. That one's seen its better days. And that one was gold plated. You can see that shininess coming through there. So we're going to get these three put in the acid bath, strip them off. That'll get the lacquer and paint stripped off of it, and then I'll hit it with the soft abrasive brushes. We'll be back. We are after the stripping process. Got the Fatboy. Yeah, all three of these have brass on the end, copper handles in the middle, brass on the top, brass on the doors. This would be copper bottom, brass top, brass guard, and copper top on the new. Okay, so after we strip the nickel plating off, we're left with a real heavy black sludge, as you can see under there. You take a chemical mixture of peroxide and some other things to eat that off. Then I do a mixture of Dawn dishwashing liquid and some other things and get that scrubbed off as much as I can. So there's the Fatboy. Some of the plating is heavier in spots, and that'll all come out in the polishing. When you don't take the razors apart, which I don't like to do, just because it weakens the whole structure. It can be done without it. This is the hardest place to do in the twist open styles, but that'll look good. There's the slim. And that's the red tip. This red tip's not too bad. Normally this collet thing right here on the red tips is the most accessible to pitting. This one looks pretty smooth. A lot of them, that's where it'll hit. I think it's a little bit different combination of alloys in the brass, and so the ones that have real bad pitting there, usually I'll do a satin finish and discount them a little bit. The ones that are nice and smooth like this, I put a little extra time into because they're gonna turn out really nice. I always leave the paint on where I can, because that's really held on there good. That'll get a lot of brushing and polishing and everything, and anything that's flaky will come off. But if there's paint that's left, I leave it and paint over the top of it, because that's got the best bond there is. Okay, so this is after the lacquer's been stripped off of this new. You can see the pinkish up on top. This is the original gold plating. Here, and here, and some here. You can see where it's, just lots and lots of scratches, tons of them. So that gold plating is going to be polished off now with fine dental polishing brushes. This will be pure copper on the top. The guard, see the darker spots is the brass underneath. This is pure brass. And these are always turn out really nice. You gotta get in between here and make sure all the lacquer, all little tiny pieces of lacquer and things like that are out of there and inside every single letter, or you'll see it. And then the handle, I try not to touch the knurling at all. If the plating's good on that, I polish around on the smooth parts, but I don't want to touch the knurling because I want that to be sandpapery smooth, or rough. And if you start polishing on that, it's really soft and it'll round off just as soon as you hit it with your polisher. So we just try to clean that area and leave it be. Stay away from it. Alright, we'll be back with the next step after we get all these polished. Alright, so this is the 1934 Aristocrat. I did the electric clean. and then rinsed, and then the surface activator, rinse, and then I've had it in the nickel. We're going to see what that looks like. That's just nice and beautiful. I always want to check the heads to make sure they're looking good. And I see a spot on that, so I'm going to have to redo that. I had to take the heads down again because there's a spot on there, and that could have been floating on the top of the solution. It could have been a fingerprint, something like that. But if you just try to buff that spot out, the nickel is harder than the brass, and that's what I started first. Well, then it's going to eat the brass away before the nickel, and it's going to create a little indent there. So to do it right, you got to take it all back down again and redo it. So we'll give it try number 2. That time it came out really nice. So we're going in the gold. We're gonna do this one a double dose. We're going to give it a double plating. Should be 20 micro inches thick after it's done. And there she is. Nice and clean at the bottom of all the letters, in between all the teeth. That is one nice razor right there. Down at the bottom where that knurling was all messed up, you can't even hardly tell. It was right around that spot right there. So anyway, I gotta get work on some other ones. This one I put a lot of extra time in. It's a real good customer, but it was the first barber pull that I'd ever done, and I want to learn how to knurl like that on my new lathe when I'm making my new handles. So I really wanted to study that real good, and I think that'll be around for another 100 years. Alright, be back. And I'm back after about 4 hours of polishing, and here's what they look like. I'm getting ready to start in on the plating process. That's the 1961 Fatboy, and these all came out. I was able to do a mirror polish on them all. And this is the 1964 Slim. Turned out pretty good. The 1958 red tip. If you can see up in here, you know, there's some really minor pitting and just a little bit on the doors, but in order to get rid of that, you need to take the whole entire surface down below that point. Okay, so that's significantly altering it. So what I like to do is just make it look real good, give it a little bit of, keep a little bit of the antique patina with it on that, but give it a nice new surface and let it hang around for 100 years. And this is the 1930s long comb. It turned out nice. So we'll be back with the final result here in just a second. I'm going to wrap this up. So this is what I did for the day today. So this was a customer's 1934 Aristocrat. I'll be sending that out in the mail tomorrow. Turned out really nice. This is that 1961 Fatboy we saw at the beginning of the video. I just have to paint the numbers and the little red deal there and the black stripe, and that'll be on eBay tomorrow and my store. And if you're interested in buying them, go to the store, because eBay takes a lot of fees out of it and that helps keep things cheap. That's the 1964 Slim J1. The Fatboy was G1. This is a J1. I gotta paint the numbers on that. That'll be on there tomorrow. I have to paint the red tip on this. Turned out really nice and shiny. That's the D1 1958 red tip. And the last was the 1930s fat handle long comb 3-piece safety razor. So that's what they look like when they're done. Alright, everybody take care. Bye.